If I had to pick between TJ Shorts and myself, I would pick TJ Shorts. Uh, I go all along with him. I know next season when you set the prices, you can put him for 45. I'll still take him. He must be there.
Hello and welcome to the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge Podcast. My name is Javier Gancedo. Our usual co-hosts, Basiliki Karamuza and Frankie Sachs, are unavailable, but you guys are in luck because we have fantasy god Arale Weisberg with us. Arale, how's everything?
Okay, let's finish the episode now because after saying that, I can retire.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I gotta say that you were 19th in the EuroCup Fantasy Challenge Podcast, better than Frankie, who was 26. He's been bragging about his final position, but you did even better. So congratulations.
Yeah, beating Frankie is the most important mission, and I hope I can get it in EuroLeague too.
All right, well, let's go to business. It's been quite two games of playoffs so far. But I don't know if you'll agree with me. The most important player, not the most valued or anything, but the most important player in the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge last week was Juancho Hernan Gomez, because he got a PAR of 40 in game one. Everybody went for him, and then he had a PAR of 3. I guess that having him at the right time was the difference maker, basically.
Yeah, it was so sad not having him the first game, and was so happy not having him in the second. And it was the same player. You know, all season long we speak about how not to win yesterday's war in those back-to-back weeks. You know, it's so tempting to take a player who was so good on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then, you know, you take him and he's doing nothing. And I think it's even more difficult when you face the same team and same opponent. That's why I didn't pick Juancho after the first game. And these playoffs are extremely difficult, more than any other season, because I think the most important position is the coach. And you know, you pick someone who plays at home in the first game, so it's okay. And everyone, all the home teams won the first game, and then the trouble became even harder and more complicated, because I always like take you know, the coach who lost at home in the first game, take him in the second game, but nobody did that. And now third game, I think it's the easiest choice all season, because I have no idea what's going to happen. You know, teams lead by 2-0. You think, okay, one more victory, but it's on the road, and you know, you look like you look at Real Madrid and Barcelona. Okay, they have their pride, their history, their experience. They gotta bounce back and at least win one game for their pride. You look at Panathinaikos, Efes, nobody knows anything there, so it's like gambling this time.
All right, I'm going to ask you one question per series, all right? And then we'll move on to trades. Let's start with Efes Panathinaikos. You know, but Vincent Poirier has been amazing, 3.5 blocks and over 20 in both games. Is he going to catch up, or should we try to go for Dan Oturu? What's your take on Efes centers in this games 3 and 4?
I didn't take him in game 2 because I thought that, you know, having those back-to-back issues, maybe Oturu will be better, and Oturu started better. But I think he has such a perfect matchup against Panathinaikos' front court. You can't go against him. I think for the first time this season, it's been a long ride, but for the first time, Panathinaikos feels the absence of Lesor in so many ways. Euro7 had a few nice moments in the second game. When Gabriel can have some good games, but it's not like Lesor, and I expect Poirier to keep pushing his numbers up.
All right, talking about Madrid Olympiacos and talking again about centers, to me the most important position in the game. Tavares was really under control. He had a lot of foul trouble in game 1. He hasn't performed the way he did when he was MVP of March of April. Can we expect a big Tavares in game 3?
He's in my short list because Tavares cannot be that bad for so long. I mean, if I'm counting on Madrid to give their pride back, at least for one evening at home, Tavares has to be one of the two guys will have to step up. It's a little bit tricky. I'm a little bit afraid, but so for now he's not in my roster. I'll give you a spoiler, but we have some time until the deadline, and I'm not sure he's not going to be there. When the buzzer hits.
Same here. I have him right now, and I'm not 100% sure. I'm like in the opposite position. But anyway, talking about Barca and Monaco, which is the rivalry series of Game 3 of the playoffs. What does Barca need to do? Which player of Barca would you trust for Game 3? My take is Joel Parra. He's been playing fantastic. He's very cheap. Do you see any other players who can help the teams and help teams in fantasy private leagues and in the standings?
I go with KP. I think Panther is much better at home in general, and I think now he has renewed his contract, and he's very secure in his spot in the team. He's the leader. He's like a franchise player, and if anything can change there, it's him. You're right about Para. Is a great surprise this season. I think we can call it a breakout season, but he was good in the first 2 games and they didn't win. So I expect him to still be good and solid, especially for his price. But in order for Barca to win, they need something else. They need someone else, and that someone else is KP.
Okay, let's talk about stars, Paris, and Fenerbahce. Tadic Bibanovic had a great game. Kevarius Hayes played well in Game 1, I think. But this is about stars. If you had to pick between having TA Shorts or having Nigel Hayes Davis, would you pick one, the other, or both of them?
If I had to pick between TJ Shorts and myself, I would pick TJ Shorts. I go all along with him. I know next season when you set the prices, you can put him for 45. I'll still take him. He must be there. But I'm gonna take Nigel Hayes Davis also. I read somewhere that Fener is having some injury problems. That Chanli might miss the game. So he's so dominant. He doesn't need anyone to be out in order to play good and be their leader. With some players out, it's even worse for Fener, or better. Depends how you look at it. I'm going with them both.
Anyway, let's check out the trades. So tell us, what do you have in store for games 3 and 4, especially for game 3?
Yeah, only for game 3, because I don't know what's going to be the final team for tonight, but I know it's going to be very different than the one of game 4. Speaking of, all the gambles in the coach's position, I decided to go. If I gamble, I'll go the cheapest way. I went with Thiago Splitter. Not that I'm sure that Paris is going to win, but they're playing at home. They're such an exciting team, and I'm sure they wanna have at least one more W in the pocket. And as you already understand, I like TJ Shorts, so I'm going with them. I put Mike James out in order to have Kevin Panther, because I believe that he's going to dominate at home, and I made a complete revolution in the center position. Barca, with their short front court, played some small ball, and Daniel Theis didn't find his rhythm in game 2. Maybe Spanulis is going to make some adjustments, and it will become his advantage. But I must have Poirier, and I went with Jantunen, playing at home, believing in Paris, and with the absences, yes or no, in Fener, I think he should have a better game. And with those changes, I could make the change in the guard position to upgrade Tarpi to Nadir Hifi. And between Fener players, the cheapest players, I took Daishon Pierre instead of Biberovic, just because I think that Biberovic at home is a monster. On the road, he might have it a little bit more difficult. And Pierre, for his price on T1, which is the most important thing, that you can have backups and put him on the bench after the game. I think I like him.
Well, not bad at all. I'm gonna need a lot of advice, and you gave me already one about TA Shorts, and I'm gonna try to find my way to include him. Okay, I kept 3 players, which are Mike James, Bezenkov, of course. I think everybody goes for best. and Terry Tarpey, who's really cheap, and he has potential to give you a PR of 6, 7, 8 if he plays enough minutes. I went all in with Madrid, and I signed Tavares and I signed Campazzo. My take on that is that if Madrid has to win this game, both of them have to play really well and connect with each other. That's what I did. So my first turn is Tavares, Campazzo, Yul, who's also very cheap and potential to have a PR of 20 in a good game, and Bezenko. We'll see, but of course, he's going to be my first choice as captain, as we'll speak later. But the problem is that I have too many Monaco players. I have Mike James, I have Jaite, who I think played really well in game 2 and surprised everybody, and I think he adjusted to this small ball situation better being a pure center than Daniel Tice, who is like a 4-5. I have Alpha Diallo. For the same reason, he's playing power forward more than small forward in this series, so he has advantages everywhere. And I have Tarpey. That's 4 Monaco players to go with. Joel Parra, Echan Osmani, and that's it. That's my team. My coach is Sarunas Jasikevičius. Same. I have the feeling Fenerbahce will sweep, and that's why I have Saras. But there's no guarantee that, Paris has been fantastic at home. TJ Shorts, on a good day, he can single-handedly beat everybody. But I'm going with Saras anyway. I think Fenerbahce has a good chance to. But now that you tell me about these injuries, maybe I'll shuffle the things around, especially since I need a little bit more money if I'm going to have TJ Shorts in the end. So that's more or less my team. What do you think? Would you make any big changes?
I think so. I'm convincing you, and you're convincing me. Now you're tempting me to take Chus Mateo as the coach because you're so right about Madrid and about Campazzo and Tavares. It makes me wanna see them win one more game this season. And there's one player that I have in my team that I didn't mention is Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn has been defended amazingly by FS. It's not like just he's shooting some great shots and it doesn't fall in. And he did it in Oaxaca. Oaxaca's Nunn is the best Nunn, and he's the best player. And now they go to play in Istanbul, which is supposed to be even more difficult. But I'm going with him because I remember last season's series of Panathinaikos against Maccabi, and I checked myself. He scored 8 and 10 in the first 2 games, and then third game, Panathinaikos lost in Belgrade, but he scored 25, and then went on to 27, 26. He's so good. He's the MVP. He must find a way to adjust and find a way, to score some big points. So against all logics, I'm going with him.
Last thing I'm going to say before we talk about captains is that, there were only a couple of days to adjust between game 1 and 2, but they're like 5 or 6 between 2 and 3. So expect a lot of adjustments, expect a lot of surprises, tactical and rotation-wise, because games 3 and 4 probably are going to be similar to each other, but games 2 and 3 are going to be very different. That's my take.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to take players who underperformed in the series so far. Some things are going to change.
For sure. Anyway, let's have a look at the captain, shall we?
TJ Shorts. What's the... Nothing to argue here. We have Sasha, who's always a great pick. But if we believe that the home teams are going to bounce back, we have to go all the way with it. I'm going with TJ Shorts for the first night. And second night, if he's not going to be good, I'm sure he's going to be good. And I'm not going to have this dilemma. I have some good options. Poirier, Panther, Kendrick Nunn. I'll choose between one of them. From the top of my head, I'm going to say Kendrick Nunn, but I'm sure I'm going to keep TJ as the captain.
Well, we'll see. I have Tavares I have Bezenko. Sorry, best for press in turn 1 because he's the most solid choice. Like he's gonna have his guy's working PAR machine.
Yeah.
So he'll have a 20 PAR just by barely stepping on court. If Betts, for whatever reason, doesn't have a good game, because, Gabi Deck is a really good defender and probably the most suitable defender to go against him in the entire league, I'll go with Mike James so far. But like I said, I'm trying to shop for TJ Short, so we'll see if he makes my team. And that's all we have this week. Don't forget that the Rivalry Series game is FC Barcelona against AS Monaco. Exciting game. And you can watch this game, all playoffs, and all Final Four on EuroLeague TV. Also, you can watch the 7th Star, the documentary of Panathinaikos on EuroLeague TV. Don't miss it. It's great. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. And remember, we're on all audio platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere. You can watch us on YouTube or you can listen to us anywhere. And we'll be here next week with more Fantasy Challenge action. See ya.